Well, thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate it. This is, I think the ninth episode of our Games Insight Week here at Ukie, which is exciting. So it's been a busy week so far. But today we're going to be talking to Internet Matters and Roblox. And hearing from them about keeping neurodivergent children safe online whilst playing games. So, Carolyn, I should hand over to you if you'd like to sort of introduce yourself and everyone. That'd be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leo. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. We're really excited to be here with our partner Roblox talking about neurodivergent children playing games online. I'm Carolyn, I'm the co-CEO at Internet Matters. We're a not-for-profit organisation whose goal is about getting people to take more positive action to keep children safe and well, whether that's parents, teachers, policymakers or industry. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by some experts in this space. So if I can have the next slide, I'm going to ask them all to give you a very quick 1-minute intro to themselves. So I'm going to start off with the lovely Elizabeth.
Good morning. Well, for me, it's morning. Yes, I'm talking to you from Nashville, Tennessee, traveling just a little bit for Roblox. So I'm just saying hello to everyone. And I am the global head of Parental Advocacy at Roblox. And my job is to help parents kind of reduce some of the anxiety and fear and demystify the Roblox platform and really just help digital families thrive on Roblox and beyond.
And then I've got two of my colleagues from Internet Matters. So first off, we've got Katie Freeman-Tayler. Katie.
Hi everyone, yes, my name is Katie and I'm the Head of Research and Policy at Internet Matters.
And we've got Ghislaine.
Hello everyone, I am the Content and Digital Director at Internet Matters and it's nice to be here, and I hopefully will share some amazing resources that I'm responsible for creating, particularly some of which we've done at Roblox. Nice to be here, thank you.
So we've got a really packed agenda today. I'm going to kick off the session giving an overview about how vulnerable children experience the online world. Then Elizabeth will share more about Roblox Digital Civility Initiative, which is a really important piece of work that they're undertaking. Katie's going to then take us through the findings of a joint piece of research that we did with Roblox, exploring children's relationship with gaming. And then Elizabeth will be back to talk about the implications of that for industry and how Roblox have acted on it. And then last but not least, Ghislaine will talk us through some of the resources that we've created at Internet Matters to support vulnerable children and their families. And then at the end, hopefully there will be time to have a quick Q&A. So I think we're putting Q&A into the chat function today, and we'll keep an eye on that as we go through. So if we can go to the next slide. So for the last 4 or 5 years, we've produced something called the Annual Digital Wellbeing Index, which is a really interesting survey that we do with 1,000 children and their parents that come from the same household, trying to explore the impact of connected technology on children's well-being. And we do that across 4 dimensions: social, emotional, developmental and physical. And each of those dimensions can have a positive and negative attribute. So the index was created with the University of Leicester, and it allows us to essentially track changes in children's online experience over time. What you're seeing on this slide is that for each of the 4 dimensions, we're able to create a score for both the positive impact and the negative impact. And you can see the different scores across each of the 4 dimensions on this slide for both vulnerable children on the left and then children without vulnerabilities on the right. And as I say, we can compare different groups of kids. We can compare vulnerable versus non-vulnerable, girls versus boys, or different age groups, however we want to cut the data. But our webinar today obviously is focused on vulnerable children. And when it comes to the definition of vulnerable, that can be tricky because vulnerabilities can be a very temporary state for young people. But for the purposes of this research, we consider it to be a child that has what's called an educational health and care plan, an EHCP, or a child that is on the SEN register at school, so the special education needs at school, or those who have physical or mental health conditions that require professional help. And on the screen, you've got the data from our most recent survey published earlier this year, which compares vulnerable to non-vulnerable. And I think there's a few things that we see in this slide. First of all, that they experience, basically the scores are higher across both positive and negative. So they experience more of the good and more of the bad of being online. So you can see, for example, emotional positive is 1.64 for vulnerable children, but it's only 1.43 for non-vulnerable. So vulnerable kids are experiencing more of the good, but equally on the negative dimension, so I could pick out social and negative, it's a score of 0.91 against 0.6, so much worse being online. So although these are small numbers, these are very significant differences, and we consistently see how vulnerable children are sometimes 2, 3, 4 times more likely to experience all different types of online harm. And this is a trend we saw back. We first saw this back in 2019 when we started looking at children's experiences online. And sadly, it hasn't really changed over the last few years. We see this theme repeatedly come up in the research that we do, where essentially vulnerable kids really do find community and connection online, and they're free of labels, which I think is the labels that usually define them, which I think is really super important for them. But they're also far more susceptible to the harm, believing in misinformation, experiencing abuse or bullying, or finding it hard to regulate the time that they spend online. So it's a tricky environment for children with vulnerabilities to navigate. I can go to the next slide, please. And the survey shows this really starkly. So vulnerable kids reported how positive online spaces were for them. So building this community, being creative, feeling comfortable, and 6 in 10 saying that it's really important for finding groups that offer friendship and support. And 46% say they were, making things that they were proud of online, and half saying they were comfortable being themselves online. So it is a really positive news story, but it unfortunately is not all a good news story. We see 1/5 of vulnerable children report posting something online they've later regretted, which is significantly more than their counterparts, which is just 12%. 34% saying they struggle to control how much time they spend online, compared to 25% of non-vulnerable peers. And that's a challenge we hear from parents of vulnerable children, especially that, in terms of regulating time spent on gaming platforms. I think that's one of families' big challenges. Other negative aspects of life online for vulnerable children really do include upsetting experiences, so bullying. 1/4 of vulnerable children reporting they've experienced this, which is also, unfortunately, is a real big increase from just 10% the year before. And 1/3 are avoiding certain apps and games because of how people talk or act. And I think, again, that's something really to consider for sort of gaming and the social elements of gaming. So given these experiences and challenges, it's really important how important vulnerable children see gaming to their online lives. And Katie will talk through in a bit more detail the findings of the research that we did with Roblox. And it's really important that we support these young people so they get more of the good and less of the bad in the online spaces that they inhabit. So that was a very quick couple of minutes on just the experience of vulnerable children online. And with that in mind, I wanted to introduce Elizabeth, who we're delighted to have as a partner working with Internet Matters, but she's going to talk about how Roblox is committed to encouraging civility online with their really innovative digital civility program. So I'll hand over to Elizabeth.
Oh, thank you so much, Carolyn. It is truly, truly wonderful to be here and to even just see some of the highlights of the work that you guys are doing. I mean, it's just so important for our families. And I think I should probably also mention that my niece has Down syndrome. And so I'm always looking for resources that help all families. And so I just think it's so fantastic to be so inclusive. First slide for me, please. So I'm going to say the next one, because I'm going to introduce you to our Civility initiative. So I am so thrilled to be on the Civility team with the fabulous Laura Higgins, that I'm sure many of you know, and Tammy Bomick, who is our VP and head of Civility and partnerships. And basically what the two of these powerhouses have done is create something that is absolutely fabulous, which is this whole Civility mission. So they did this 5-6 years ago, and they actually built out the principles and just a whole new way of thinking about how to interact with the community. And so they built the 3 principles for civility, which are to educate, empower, and inspire. And I just want to make sure that people know it's really the truth, people. I mean, this is exactly what they do. It's what we do. It is not just corporate speak. And so, the educate, that's the first pillar where we're working with expert partners to create resources, some of which you've seen with Internet Matters. And this is always, of course, driven by evidence-based data, because there's no reason just, quoting and citing things that we want people to hear. I mean, we really want to have the academics behind us. Obviously, empowering our communities, this whole idea of advocating civility by design, safety by design, privacy by design. I mean, this is what it's all about. And we see this in so many different layers. And then finally, the third is to inspire or to lead. And I think they're doing a great job, which is why I joined 6 months ago to today, where really they are leading by example and sometimes making the hard choices. You'll see some of those coming up in the next few months. Spoiler alerts, I'm not going to give away anything, but really taking the long view and looking at how we can protect the community, empower our community, educate them, and always trying to amplify and innovate those results. So that is just a little bit of an overview of the civility principles. And I just want to mention how the team works. So again, I mentioned that we have Tammy, our fearless leader. And then afterwards, Laura, she really focuses on community safety and civility. And then she has so kindly given the parents and caregivers over to me. So that's why that's my focus and my passion. Whereas Andres, he also leads up his passion area, which is teens and youth engagement. We also have Daniel, who's helping with pro-social design and our operational strategy. And we are so excited that we now have additional team members for a learning hub. And so we're going to be doing even more things in this education space. But as we look at our mission and strategy, it really is helping people navigate Roblox and the online world. And I really always want to stress that, because for me, it is so important that I'm talking about Roblox, obviously, because that's my job, but that it is the online world. It's going even beyond. And so one of the things that I always like to say, of course, is that I'm here for the parents. I want to help their digital families thrive within Roblox, but I want to make sure that they have the skills and the critical thinking that they can take with them to other places. So I'm not going to read through this slide, but just so you can see, I mean, well-being resources, we're always thinking about digital well-being. Again, community safety is Laura's little bucket of happiness. And so she's just trying to make sure that everyone really understands how to use Roblox safely, to understand the privacy tools, the moderation tools, parental controls, to understand what you can do to empower you and your families to take control, because we have provided these tools for you. Digital literacy, again, trying to make sure that people understand, the who, what, where, when, and why, and being on Roblox and beyond. Civility by design, again, the developer initiatives and the metrics. I'm going to lump all this together, so I won't, like I said, be reading through. But what's really exciting here is just this idea that we actually work with our internal teams and we work with the external teams, trying to figure out ways to actually increase, some of the civility features, to increase the impact. So let me just give you one small example. With our teen council that Andres leads, they actually met with some of the user experience engineers and people. And literally, I was in the room with them, and there were probably about, I'm going to say, close to 60 Roblox personnel. On the screen, we had 3 or 4 of our teen council members, and they were actually giving insights into new and upcoming features. And the best part was that as they were saying things, you could see across the room all these adults scribbling and taking notes because they had never thought of it that way. And the teens, quite frankly, said, no, we wouldn't use this. We don't use, we don't use Roblox that way, or we wouldn't use that feature that way. So it was really, really exciting. And so I think those are the things that are new and different. And finally, again, this whole idea of innovation. I mean, even with my job being that Roblox saw this, that Laura and Tammy, put their heads together and said, okay, head of global head of parental advocacy. We need someone who is fighting for the parents. And I always say that I am definitely employed by Roblox, but I work for the parents. Next slide, please. So this is just to give you some more examples and to point you to the good stuff on civility.roblox.com. On the left, you are seeing some of the podcasts that we've done, 3 seasons worth with Laura Higgins and Jordan Shapiro. And I'm happy to say that season 4 will be coming again with working with Sesame Group. So it'll be myself hosting with Michael Preston. And this time we're going to really try to gear more towards parents and families. The first 3 seasons were with excellent academics and experts and really just created a fabulous foundation. Again, there's a little an example to the right of namely showing some resources, working with them. And again, all of these things are on the website. So I would love it if you would go and take a peek. Oh, and fun fact, in 12 days, it will be updated. So you have to come back and look at the website. You might even see a little something from yours truly. So go back and let me know. Really, I do say this all the time. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Let me know what you're thinking. Let us know how we can do better to help you and your families and your communities of professionals and everything else that we're doing. Next slide, please. See, you guys just give me the microphone and I just keep on talking. I'm going to go faster because I know we've got lots of other good things to do. Inspire, engaging meaningfully. I've already mentioned our teen council. You can see some of the results of the Neurodiversity Project. Of course, we meet with focus groups and we do pulse surveys. And I'm really excited because we're creating the very first parent council. Again, first, innovative is our name, where we're really trying to hear from parents and caregivers. Next slide, please. There we go. I'm going to hand it over to Katie.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and really wonderful to be here today. I'm going to be taking you through some findings from our More Than a Game research, which Internet Matters did in partnership with Roblox and with support from Ambitious About Autism, the Autism Society, and Autistica. We undertook this research in the UK and the US with neurodivergent young people aged 11 to 17 who game and their parents. The research aimed to better understand the benefits and challenges that the online world presents for neurodivergent young people, and especially in the gaming environment as well. And as Carolyn said at the top, there's lots of kind of different definitions of vulnerable and neurodiverse, but for the purposes of this research, we focused on autistic children and those with ADHD. So what did we find? Well, autistic children like to game, especially when it's with others. So 91% of young people in the research said that they play games with other people online. One of the most popular games amongst those in the research was Roblox, with 92% of young people saying that they play Roblox games. And they enjoy aspects of like the variety of games that are offered on the platform and also the role-playing element as well. Young people articulated lots of positives that come from gaming, including creativity. So children and young people spoke about how they really enjoyed building their own games. And this was also something that parents told us that they recognized as a positive, saying that building games and being creative in gaming platforms help children with tasks like problem solving, for example. And parents and children also acknowledged that, just back 1 second, the important role that gaming can have in building friendships as well. So we found that 51% of young people said that playing games online helped them develop friendship. And particularly because that was, they had a shared interest that they could build that friendship out from. Despite the positives, neurodivergent young people did acknowledge some negative sides of online gaming. And obviously, as Carolyn said earlier, we know that there is lots of positives to being online for vulnerable children, but these positives also come alongside negatives at times. So in the research, we found that 2 in 5 children report often seeing or hearing bad things when gaming. And this could include things like inappropriate or derogatory language. And not only did this happen sort of for vulnerable children and young people, but in other research, we often find that the different vulnerabilities or demographics of children and young people can influence their experiences in online gaming environments. So, for example, we often hear that girls might have more negative experiences due to sometimes misogyny in those environments. So definitely the characteristics and experiences can change the experiences of children and young people when they're gaming. Another negative that children and young people told us was that 26% of young people self-declare that they spend too much time gaming, often struggling to kind of regulate their time online. And then also, I think really important to acknowledge, particularly for the neurodiverse group that we did this research with, some of them also struggled with the design elements of gaming, finding it perhaps overstimulating at times as well. Next, thank you. Parents too see some challenges when it comes to gaming, perhaps unsurprisingly. So one of the biggest challenges that parents face, 52% of parents thought that their child spent too much time gaming. And parents often sort of spoke about in the research how often balancing the importance of video games to their child with the need to respond and manage their time can be quite a difficult balance for them to strike. Half of parents also thought that their children's behaviour worsened when they were gaming. Some sort of commented on them becoming short-tempered or perhaps irritable. And this was actually also recognised by young people as well. Some young people said that they could feel addicted to gaming at times, and that could also sort of lead to them being more aggressive and perhaps, rage quitting a game as well. So I think that's really interesting to recognise, as sometimes we see that maybe only parents are seeing that side of it, but actually children themselves can also see some of the negative sides, despite being really positive about gaming as well. When it comes to concerns around safety, we found that, that was a concern of both parents and children. And in terms of addressing that, we found that 3 in 5 parents talk to their children regularly about being safe while they're gaming. Other approaches to keeping children safe, which parents took in this research, was 62% of parents said that they sort of set rules up with their child, perhaps about how long they can game for. And 59% said that they check the game that their child is using, and often looking at kind of functions and features like friends list, for example, or chat functions as well. To support parents to manage children's time online, screen time management apps can be quite helpful. And I'm sure my colleague will talk about some of the kind of tools and techniques a little bit later. But what we found in this research, that was around sort of 2/3 of parents were not aware of or did not plan to use tools like screen time management apps, despite one of the biggest barriers or challenges for online gaming being around time spent online. This, of course, is just sort of one example of what parents can use to support their children's gaming online. But I think what we see in other research that we've done is that often parents might be aware of a parental tool or control, but they might not know how to use or implement it, or they might be only aware of one particular type. Perhaps they know about broadband filters, for example, but aren't aware of the tools and techniques that are available within gaming apps as well. And parents in our research cite lots of kind of reasons for that. It might be sort of overwhelm of the amount of parental controls available, or it might be something simple like changes within a platform, and it takes a little while for them to become familiar with those changes. And while it shouldn't be the responsibility of children alone to sort of keep themselves safe online, they, of course, too can take steps to be safe in kind of gaming environments and beyond. But we did find in this research that less than half of young people were knowledgeable about using privacy settings, reporting content or users who had made upsetting contents, or blocking accounts. And we also know from other research that we've done that blocking and reporting rates are low, with a lot of sort of low trust in the process around this, or children and young people being unsure kind of what steps to take to be able to report a content or user. So that's often a tool that isn't used by children and young people. Thank you. And of course, being an organisation that's all about supporting parents to keep children safe online, it's always really positive to see in the research children kind of recognising the role of parents in children's online safety. So we found 67% of young people thought that their parents were best placed to talk to them about being safe while gaming. And this really mirrors other research that we do. We consistently see that parents, carers, trusted adults are who children are most likely to learn about online safety from, and they're also who children turn to when something goes wrong online. We do see that sort of drops off a little bit as children get older, but we still see it's really important even in the kind of older teen group as well. In terms of, supporting children, we found in this research that what children would like support with is how to talk to their parents about the issues that occur when gaming. They wanted support with interacting with others online. And I think this is particularly important for this neurodiverse group as well, as we know that sometimes, they might take a comment at face value or find it a little bit harder to pick up on social cues. So for this group, that was particularly important. And then, of course, just sort of tools and tips for playing safely online as well. As I said, my colleague is going to take us through sort of what that could look like for parents and children and young people. But for now, I think I'm handing back to Elizabeth, who's going to talk us through the implications of these for the gaming sector.
Great, thank you so much. So can I have the next slide, please? Right. So I think that when we start talking about, what are the implications, what can we do? I think something that's really key is that, we begin as we mean to go on, right? And that we stop applying protections as an afterthought. I mean, we really have to think about these communities and embed this production into the product development. So, what are some of the ways of doing this? Having proportionate age assurance, really trying to make sure that the users are who they say they are, and so one of the things that we have done is announcing our quite ambitious plan to expand age estimation, not just to the under 18s, under 16s, but to all users. And so we really hope that this will help increase some of the safety and civility on the site. Privacy by default, of course. I mean, again, this is something that needs to be embedded right from the beginning, and different context-specific tools to help these families, these children navigate safely and responsibly. Next slide, please. So what else am I thinking about? Do we think about for industry? Obviously, is improving moderation and intervention, and doing this in a way that we use technology to detect harm before it escalates. And I'm really pleased to say that at Roblox we do have AI moderation, human moderation. This is something that I think that is just a nice way to have the best of both. Having cross-platform threat intelligence, and being able to really, stop some of these bad actors before things, again, escalate. Something else that Roblox has just recently done is open sourcing Roblox Sentinel, which is our technological AI response to preemptive risk detection. Again, it's open source, so get out there and check it out to see how you can possibly use some of these tools. Next slide, please. Something that is near and dear to my heart is, safety partnerships. So obviously, no one company or government or even the parents, educators, we can't do this alone, right? And no single company can solve these problems and these issues. So we have to create formal partnerships. And I'm really thrilled to say that at Roblox we do have lots of safety partners. As you can see on the screen, some of my remit right now is working in Europe and trying to bring in even more partnerships, because that is the best way for us to keep the entire community safe. So I think that it's really also interesting to note some of the research funding that we can do, because let's face it, we need the academics, we need the science behind it. We need to be able to know where this impact and measurement is coming forward and coming through and really shining, so that way we can keep going in those directions. Next slide, please. Empowerment and digital literacy, it is really interesting to me that I have been saying this for 15 years about empowerment and empowering parents. I think that's probably why I love Internet Matters so much, is because we've been saying the same things for a very long time. And I think that, it's coming together now. I think that, thanks to or because of the pandemic, with more and more people getting online, now with this crush of AI, we really have this opportunity that we must seize about empowering digital families, all digital families. And, in my opinion, I always say that we need to create this triangle of trust, right? Where we have the parents, the educators, and the children, where they are able to speak and collaborate and share their concerns. And the only way we can do that is, again, by creating those sort of safe spaces for them to do so. So I think that developers, gamers, creators can think about more in-game safety education. It doesn't take, but a second to really, sit there and think about how you can educate all of your users on what to do if something does go wrong. Because let's face it, the world is not always a bright and shiny, happy place. Parent-friendly transparency, I'll come back to that one in a second, but elevating child voices, teen voices. Let's hear from these different communities, and whether we're talking about racially marginalized, whether we're talking about our SEND communities, we need to have all communities, we need to hear their voices of these children because they are powerful. With the parent-friendly transparency, that is, again, why I'm on board, and we have just launched our very first Parent and Caregiver Council in North America, Europe, and we just now, I think today, it's going to be expanding to Latin America and Asia Pacific. So if you have any parents or caregivers out there that you think would be interested in helping us make Roblox an even better platform for all users, I invite you to take a look at the website. You'll see that announcement coming up shortly, and please come and join us. I think that's it for me.
Hi everyone, I think it's now my turn. Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing that. And what I'll be doing is just taking you through some of the resources. So what is the response to the research that we've had Katie walk through, and how have we created some, what I think are innovative, impactful resources, particularly to support those all families and offer that support for children to have safe gameplay. So based on the insights from our research, as we shared earlier, we've developed a suite of resources to support parents, carers, and young people, particularly those who are neurodivergent, so they can enjoy gaming safely and confidently. All the resources were co-created with Ambitious About Autism, ensuring that the content and design were both sensitive, accessible, and genuinely impactful. We began by focusing on parents, helping them understand specific challenges that neurodivergent children face while playing games online, and how they can offer practical support. These included contact from strangers, so using parental controls to manage communications and encourage positive interactions, exposure to inappropriate content, so checking PEGI ratings and using filtering tools to manage what children see, and then physical well-being, understanding the physical impacts of gaming, like eye strain and posture, and tips for taking regular breaks. We also touched on financial risks, so particularly with those free-to-play games where microtransactions can add up really quickly. We show how to manage spending through tools and open family conversations. This approach not only supports safety, but also helps build children's confidence and enjoyment in play. Hopefully we'll have a link posted in the chat. If not, you'll have a chance to go back on the website and visit our website to have a look at that as well. Alongside the parent guide, we also created the resources tailored for young people themselves, so including a simple visual spot the risk guide. It uses clear, concrete examples to help children recognize risks and know when and how to seek help. We work carefully on the design, so using monochrome tones, clean layouts, and meaningful icons to limit distractions while enhancing learning and understanding. And then language was also another key focus. So for instance, instead of saying report players who are mean, which may feel vague, we use clearer, actionable language, such as if a friend asks for your password or login details, that's a risk, tell a trusted adult or report it. So this helps neurodivergent players identify specific behaviors, making online safety more tangible and achievable. We also produced a short video series to reach young players in a more dynamic way. The videos cover staying safe while gaming, involving parents and carers, and then also how to report players and content on Roblox. So all the videos use animation, as you can see, accessible design and clear voiceovers, which you might not be able to hear, but you can. We'll post a link so you can do that. So really making them especially effective for neurodivergent children who may process visual or auditory information slightly differently. The goal is to empower young players to get the most out of their gaming experience safely and positively. One of the biggest concerns, as was raised early in the research, was that around screen time, and that's consistently what we see from both vulnerable children, but also neurotypical children. So particularly how hard it can be for neurodivergent children to stop playing once they're immersed in the game. To address this, we created a dedicated screen time guide, offering nuanced, practical advice tailored to neurodivergent needs, step-by-step parental control guidance to help families set healthy boundaries, and a simple checklist to support children before, during, and after gameplay, helping them recognize when to take breaks and transition more smoothly to other activities. We also produced a walkthrough video for Roblox screen time settings, making it easier for parents to use the available tools effectively. And this is really, in terms of when I look at the numbers of people using that particular tool, it's really done really, really well for us in terms of kind of giving people the way to kind of utilize those Roblox tools. In addition, we developed a series of parent story videos where parents of neurodivergent children share their lived experience and advice. The videos focus on 3 core themes: starting conversations about online safety, interacting safely while gaming, and then reporting and blocking inappropriate behavior or content. So hearing directly from other parents offers reassurance and practical ideas, helping families feel less alone and more confident in supporting their children online. And finally, to pull all this together, we created a really great game, which we are really proud of internally. We love it. It was a learning curve, let's put it that way, of us adults getting involved in the Roblox language and creating this, but we're really, really proud of this. And so we created a game called Game On, the Digital Champion Challenge. The game uses gamification to build media literacy skills, helping children to learn online safety through play. It features 3 levels where players answer questions and point and reinforce key messages around safe, positive gaming. So this kind of partnership really between education and game design shows how the industry can play a real role in empowering young players and reducing online risk. So I would encourage you to go and play it and have a look yourself and let us know what you think, really. And all of the resources that we just shared and more are all housed in our online gaming advice hub, which is our go-to resource for helping parents and children understand the safe, positive side of gaming while recognizing the risk. So we cover everything that we've just said, from age ratings to in-game spending to chat settings, screen time boundaries, and how gaming can support learning and connection. So it's really important for us to kind of, give parents. We talk to all sorts of parents, but this has been really great for us to work on with Roblox, to have the opportunity to really have specific resources that really target those neurodivergent children, hopefully help their families and themselves stay safe while they're gaming. That is me. I'm going to hand over to Carolyn, who will talk you through some of the bits.
Thanks, Ghislaine. So just before we start the Q&A, which Leo's going to lead us through, I just wanted to reiterate that the work of Internet Matters, being a not-for-profit, really is reliant on the partnerships that we develop with industry. And I just wanted to share a few examples of how collaboration and partnership works at Internet Matters. So obviously today we're talking about Roblox, and one of the things that we have done with Roblox is really to do research, and research underpins all of our work at Internet Matters. It's really important that anything that we do is evidence-based. So there's opportunities when we partner to basically produce research reports, thought leadership pieces, going on to do policy engagement or the creation of new resources, as we've done with Roblox. And we're really proud of the work that we've done with Roblox, because it's been a sustained partnership over multiple years, and we feel like we're really trying to make a difference with the vulnerable children community. Another area that we work really hard to do is raising awareness with parents. Parents are really busy. They've got their heads down doing millions, gazillions of other things. So really making sure that parents are aware of the things, the actions and the steps they can take to keep their kids safe online is hugely important. And together with Electronic Arts, we've run a number of different campaigns around safe gaming and encouraging parents to make use of the many safety settings that you can on consoles, you know, doing parental controls and so forth. And that could be anything. Campaigns can range in size from sort of a simple, you know, social media campaign across organic channels to, in this example with Electronic Arts, we had talent and we had media, and it was a really great campaign that really did raise awareness amongst parents. And then the final one I just wanted to share with you is something that we did previously with Sony Interactive Gaming, which was Press Start for PlayStation. Ghislaine leads a fabulous in-house development team, and we're able to create interactive quizzes and learning activities. And as I say, this is an example we did a few years ago now that really helped parents and families understand how parental controls work and how they could be implemented to have a really positive effect. So as I say, collaboration is at the heart of what we do at Internet Matters, and whilst it's really important because this work really does support parents, it also has really positive impacts for the brands that we work with. It really demonstrates very visibly the commitment to addressing what is a really important issue. And also we track kind of sentiment towards brands, and it really shows that parents and families feel much more favourable about brands that support initiatives like Internet Matters. And the final thing I just wanted to say, some of you may be familiar with Ofcom's draft media literacy statement, which they've published just recently, which puts a sort of obligation on regulated services and media organisations to really try to educate their users about media and digital literacy. So again, lots of good reasons potentially to think about how you might be able to support Internet Matters and the work that we do. That's my begging over. So with that, I will hand back to Leo, I think, who's going to take us through a bit of a Q&A.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for this. Really fascinating stuff, especially hearing what Roblox are sort of putting into place and making some progress on. Like I said, we had a previous session on on the Online Safety Act fairly earlier on. So I think it'd be really interesting to hear, Elizabeth, if you'd be able to comment on how Roblox might be addressing sort of age assurance, given popularity of the game with younger players. How is that sort of aspect being sort of taken care of?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It is interesting because obviously, I don't know if people realize this, but the platform itself, 37%, I will say, are users under 13. So that means everybody else is over 13, lots of adults out there playing. And I think that is really sort of being a victim of our own success, if you will, where we really now have to go in and absolutely make sure that that we have top-notch age insurance and safety measures. Obviously, this is because of just the popularity with the younger gamers. So what have we been doing with respect to age assurance is we've been kind of tweaking and refining. Right now, we're expanding age checks, and we're trying to introduce more granular safety features. So facial age estimation. So we've been rolling out technology that estimates a user's age. Don't worry, it's not anything scary. It won't say, something that you don't want to hear, because I know I did it and I was like, oh, what's it going to say? But it just says you're 18 plus. So basically, it's going to place users into different age groups. So under 13, 13 plus, and 18 plus. So this is being expanded to all users who access the platform. ID verification, right? Also hugely important. Users who are at least 13, they can verify their age using a government-issued photo ID like a passport. Obviously parental consent is in there. And this will also grant access to age-restricted content and features, such as some of the 17+ experiences. I think parental consent is always huge. It's one of my favorites. And I think that also, again, depends on the age of your child, right? Because sometimes, especially in the neurodivergent communities, we can have somebody who might be 25 who might not be 25 to be playing certain games. So I think it's really important for parents to get in there and to help adjust what is really appropriate for your child, the kind of content that you want them to see. I think that all of this is really interesting too, because another thing that Roblox has done is trying to limit adult-minor communications, unless it's a trusted adult. Of course, we want parents to be able to play with their own children, or uncles and aunts to be able to play with their nieces and nephews. So we've introduced something called trusted connections, where again you can go in and pick and choose who you are going to have an open chat with. And that is also only available to users who've completed an age check. One thing that I've already mentioned was Sentinel, which was the AI that uses our AI system that we use to really look for early signs of potential child endangerment and inappropriate scenes and experiences. And I want to take a second here about this inappropriate scenes, because I think sometimes, this is user-generated content. So whatever is trending, whatever people find might be controversial or funny, because sometimes adult humor is, kind of wacky. Let's say they create that experience, and those have some inappropriate scenes, inappropriate topics. I would say, well, I'm not even going to give a percentage, because then somebody will call me out and say, Elizabeth, it wasn't 97%, it was 93. But I will say, in the vast majority of the time, the AI moderation catches these things and that content is pulled down. What you don't always realize is that there's screenshots of that content that then goes out on other social media platforms, making it look like those experiences are still live and active, and they are not. AI did what it was supposed to do. And so even with those experiences and things, we do have a lot of proactive reports to authorities like NCMEC. And then I would say lastly is parental controls. I cannot talk enough about parental controls. And in fact, I don't like the expression parental controls. For me, it's parental guidance, right? This is what we're doing. We are guiding our children how to act when we're not in the room later, as they keep growing and get more maturity and more experience. So there's content maturity labels. There's abilities to manage your screen time limits and spending. I mean, for goodness sake, let's use spending Roblox as a way to teach financial literacy, right? You only get 10 Robux and homework must be done and chores must be done. At least that's how it worked in my house. At any rate, that's just a few examples of what I can tell you right now. Hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. It really paints a picture of the work that you're doing. I should say as well, if anyone in the chat has any questions, please do pop them in, and we'll read them out. It's a fantastic opportunity here with everyone speaking. I think it'd be interesting to hear from your perspective as well. I mean, you sort of hinted at briefly there what the kind of response might be when you've had sort of a report that a vulnerable child has been exposed to sort of harm on your platform. Can you talk us through sort of what the mechanics of that is, and maybe what some of the outcomes are?
Sure, I can do my best to pretend to be Laura Higgins now at this time, because this is truly her area. And I wish I had like an orange shirt or something, because Laura's color is orange, mine is purple, and but just imagine, right? Hello, I'm Laura Higgins. So really, I would say that immediate action, right? Obviously, we take all of these things so seriously, and so Roblox does have a large team, 24/7 trust and safety team. They're supported by advanced AI. Again, like I mentioned, Roblox Sentinel, and it's just to moderate the content and review the reports. The content removal, immediately, sometimes probably so quickly that we get a little bit of pushback on that, where people are like, hey, what happened? And then prioritization of serious harm. So reports that involve children neurotypical, neurodivergent, if there's any experience with child exploitation, grooming, or any other severe real world harms, I mean, obviously immediately escalated for expert human review. And then there's the collaboration with law enforcement. And I have to tell you, I mean, this is me being the insider, I was pleasantly surprised when I joined Roblox to see that there's a huge law enforcement community. And I'm like, wait, what? Within Roblox. So it's very cool. So it's not only collaboration externally with law enforcement, with the NECMEC reporting, there is also a lot of, police officers, law enforcement personnel who work within Roblox that continue those relationships. So if you think of it this way, just as the same way that I was doing a lot of parenting before, parenting advice and consulting for 15 years, and then I'm bringing that in-house and creating partnerships. It's the same thing with the law enforcement personnel. Everybody who's been out there serving and protecting in these communities, they're bringing that in-house to Roblox. So for me, I find it really amazing. So I would say lastly, just the whole technology, the reporting systems, we really try to make sure that the entire community understands how to report abuse. And again, there's proactive detection. I don't think I did as great a job as Laura did, but I was trying to channel her. All of this to say is that we get in there and we do the very best that we can. Is there room for improvement? I think that there will always be room for improvement because technology is increasing. Bad actors are getting sneakier. I would definitely say to reach out to us if you have some solutions and some ideas. I know Laura and I would both be really happy to hear from you.
Fantastic. Sorry, I missed unmuting myself there. I hit some other button. Fantastic. Well, yeah. If anyone else has any other questions, pop them in the chat. But I think that's been a really insightful session. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time this morning, Elizabeth, and this afternoon for everyone else. Really interesting stuff. Lots of food for thought there for the audience. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
sure.
because we've got people here, and it's just like, what would you like to see Roblox do more of to help, especially the neurodivergent community? That would be something that would be really interesting. If you have anything you want to put it in the chat, or if you want to reach out to me. And I would also say, what else can we, as Roblox and Internet Matters, do to support all parents and all digital families? Again, that's my question to you. I would love to hear your answers. I'm sure Carolyn and Ghislaine and Katie would love to be bombarded with more questions, because that gives us more fuel and it just gives us more ideas and ways to go forward. So that's my ask for all of you. And even those of you who are listening to the recording, it's not too late. You can still send us a question. It's never too late.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. Really appreciate your time. It's been really fascinating stuff. So yeah, thanks everyone. Really appreciate it. We should draw to a close there and finish a couple of minutes early. But, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.